Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 7:01 p.m. Welcome to tonight's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of Monday, October 7th, 2024. Members of the Planning and Zoning Commission and public may participate in the work session and public hearings of October 7th, 2024. All participants will be able to speak when called upon. At this time, I would like to explain the procedures to be followed during the meeting. The Commission has both a consent agenda and an agenda for consideration of individual items. Items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-contested. Item number 1, citizen comments, provides the opportunity for members of the public to address the Commission on items that are listed on the consent agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes, and the Secretary will let you know when 1 minute is left. For all plats and plans conditionally approved or disapproved by the Commission, the applicant will be provided a written statement of the conditions for the conditional approval or the reasons for disapproval at the end of the meeting. These conditions and reasons are not arbitrary. They are directly related to the requirements of Local Government Code Chapter 212 and include citations to the law that is the basis for the conditional approval or disapproval. For individual consideration items, I will call the applicant or his or her representative to present the case. The applicant will have up to 5 minutes to present the case, which includes all persons representing the application. Then those wishing to speak in favor and those wishing to speak in opposition will have up to 5 minutes each to present his or her comments. Prior to speaking, please give your name and address. Remember to speak directly into the microphone, as this hearing is recorded for public record. Any handouts you wish to provide should be given to staff. Please do not approach the Commission. The next meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission will be Monday, November 4th, 2024. The next item on our agenda, citizen comments on items listed on the consent agenda. April, has anyone signed up to speak on any item on the consent agenda?
No one signed up. Please proceed.
All right, thank you. Secretary Hack, would you please read the consent agenda into the record?
Thank you, Commissioner. We have 4 items on the consent agenda for approval. One has been moved from the consent agenda for disapproval to the consent agenda for approval. So I'll read all 4 of those items. The first item is the approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes of Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. The second item is 2024-257- Plat It's for the Ebenezer Full Gospel Assembly Edition, and it's a replat of 3 lots into a single lot for a religious institution. It's located at 1920 and 1922 Edgewood Drive and 1827 Rosewood Drive. The third item on the consent agenda for approval is 2024-302- Plat. It's the Courtside Villas Edition, and it is a preliminary and final plat for 32 lots for single-family residential use. It's located at 4951, 4961, 4971 Courtside Drive, and 3800 Doris Road. The fourth and final item on the consent agenda for approval is item number 6. It's the fourth item. It is 2024-262-PL for plat. North Star Assured Edition. It's replatting 1 lot into 2 lots for commercial development, and it is located at 4231 State Highway 161. So those 4 items are on the consent agenda for approval.
Thank you. Do we have a motion for approval of the items on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion for approval.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. All right, the consent agenda for disapproval.
Thank you. Those are now 3 items. And the first item is 2024-255-PL, the plat for Elysian Edition, which was formerly the Las Colinas Residential Edition, preliminary and final plat for platting of 22 lots for single-family residential and school uses. It's located at 6801 Caldwell Boulevard. The second item for disapproval would be 2024-347-PL. It's the second revision of Block B, Central Commerce Center. It's a replatting of 1 lot into 2 lots for office uses at 4441 West Airport Freeway. Third and final item for the consent agenda for disapproval is 2024-349-PL, Beltline Grand Prairie Industrial Edition. It is a preliminary and final plat of 2 lots for commercial development located at 2451 South Beltline Road. So these 3 items are for the consent agenda for disapproval.
And could I get a motion for disapproval based on the memos set forth by the staff?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. All right, then we'll move on to the individual items. Item number 9. Is the applicant present? This is the zoning case 2024-239-ZC, located at 310 West 3rd Street. Applicant present? Yes, sir. We spoke about it in the open session earlier, or in the work session. Would you like to present now? Yes. If you come up to the microphone, please. I'm
Sure.
not sure the
Please show the
microphone's
mic.
on. No, it's
The
not.
button.
Okay, I got it.
There we are.
My
Thanks.
name is Oscar Garcia. I'm the GC for for this project, and I got to clarify. I was in a meeting before, but I have to clarify something about it. About the codes. I can use this one.
Sure. Oh, I'm not sure whether you stated your address or not, because the microphone wasn't on. Could you state your address for the record?
My name?
Your address.
Oh, it's 310 West 3rd Street.
Well, your address, sir.
My own
Yes.
is 1911 Williams Road, Irving, Texas.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. So that is according with the codes, that one is the structure we would try to build in the back side of the property. It's going to be the 2 units and one single, 2 units in one single building, looking like it was one single door. So that one is when we try to build over there. And according with the variant for the parking lot, we using the owner. He has a contract with this property on the corner. He has his business on the corner, and he using the parking lot. And we got the letter for the approve to use the two extra parking lot for a specific this project, and we got that. This is the letter the owner authorized to the owner of the property to use the access for the parking lot and use 2 extra parking spot for the addition of another apartment on it. And
Can you put that back up on there for a second? The letter?
the letter? Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. This is the property. Oh, sorry. This is the property on the corner, and this is the name of the business of the owner, who owns the 310, the house on the 310 that he wants to build on the backside. So he rented this property, and the parking lot is in the backside, and this is the access for the corner street, straight to the. This is the backside. Let me see. And this is the backside of the property where he's gonna build another part of the duplex. This is the alley, and there is stop there. The backside of the another houses is not alley in the backside. So basically the alley is stop there. And for the utilities, all the utilities coming through the front and to the 3rd Street. The only utilities coming there is the electrical pole. Let me show you this one. Okay, here's one electrical pole in the front of the street, and then the second one is just a secondary pole to provide the power to the backside of the unit. So it's no more power to the backside or to the alley. The utility stop there. Let me see. I can see. This is another lot. Okay, this is the power pole.
1 minute remaining. 1 minute is remaining.
This is the only power pole. The another one inside of the property is just for provide the power to the backside of the other property. So, and the water and sewer is going to in front of the street and the main, the 3rd Street, sorry. And just to clarify, give a little more idea what we're gonna do over there. This is our one.
Thank you. All right, do any of the commissioners have questions for the applicant?
One question I have. I didn't understand your comments when you were saying you were going to use someone else's parking lot, because it looked like there was plenty of space on the property to have your own parking
Yeah, we got a
space.
plenty of space, but zoning requirement for six spots for the 2 more additional for the new construction. And we try to figure out the best way to put the more parking lots. But according with the codes for the zoning, we don't got too much space to maneuver and go inside of the parking lots. So we request to the owner, or the owner rent the another property to give the access and use in case use a more parking spot for our use for the new apartment.
Okay, and then the rendering that you showed, you're saying now that that's going to be one building instead of two?
Yes, this one is going to be it's one building with there's 2 units inside. One is the existing the building is already there. It's 3 bedrooms, and the new one is going to be. Let me show you the site plan. This is the existing unit over there, and this is the additional we want to build over there. So it's going to be 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, the kitchen, and the living area. And this is what is existing, the existing property over there. And to comply with the codes, they asking for build up one as just a single building, looks like that one a single one door in front. So that one is we try to do that.
The plan you just showed actually has 2 doors in the front.
Yeah, but to the front, you want
One
to
is
see
just
the front.
forward facing.
Yeah, the facing is just 1 door, but the another one is hidden on the hallway. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so just to understand correctly, one of the biggest issues I have here is with the parking. So you're saying like the neighbor next door is saying that y'all can park there.
Yes.
So what's going to happen when the neighbor sells their property and the new owner says, I don't want you to park here?
Oh, can I ask the owner what that one? Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry, my English is not the best one. That's why I try to help me to translate. So when that thing happened, the first option to sell the property is for me, and I'm ready to buy the property. The property is now running my business.
Please,
I have a
can you
contract for 10
provide
years.
us your name and address, please, for the record?
Of course,
Thank you.
it's Alejandro La Rosa, and my address is 310 West 3rd Street in Irving, Texas.
Yeah, so what he says, he said that he's the owner is gonna sell it. He has the first option to buy that one, so he rented the option to buy.
So he's currently renting that next door property at the corner
He's
there.
renting, his business is there, correct. And
Okay.
he has the first option to buy the property, and he now is renting to own. Yes.
Yeah. And right now I have like a contract for 10 years in that property.
So, okay, so you, okay, so understanding correctly, so you are leasing that property, that commercial property that is next door, that's your business right now?
It's my clinic, yes, correct.
It's your clinic?
Yes.
Are you operating that with anybody else, or that's your sole business?
Exactly.
Now, do you have that document showing that first right of refusal?
What do you mean?
That what you're saying, like you have a first right to buy the property?
I can show you, yeah, of course. I have the contract when he tells me he's ready to sell it, I'm his first option. Yeah, I have that.
And when does your lease expire?
I have only like 3 years already in the property. It's mean like 7 years more there.
So you have 3 more years left, or you have 7?
7.
You have 7 years left.
7.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the letter that you just showed about the parking, that's just a temporary promise.
Yeah, the zoning required me to talk to the owner to delete it, that part, and instead one spot use 2 spots. So we talked with the owner, and he modified that one into that one.
Okay, because normally when we see somebody trying to use parking from another piece of property, they usually have that agreement recorded with the deed records. It becomes a permanent right to use that parking.
Okay.
So that's one of the problems here is right now, it doesn't look like you'll be able to use that parking necessarily permanently, but it would be necessary to have that parking in order for this design to work.
Yeah.
The
Well,
4
we can-
parking spots just doesn't seem like enough parking.
Yeah, but we can take that document, of course.
Okay.
We don't- that one.
That may be something you want to get worked out before this goes on to council.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a reason that you couldn't use some of the space on the east side of the property in order to deal with the parking issues? Because you're asking for 2 variances, one as to the parking and one as to the amount of driveway space.
Correct.
Why not use some of the area over on the east side of the property in order to take care of those issues, or up in front of the property?
Because he wants in the future, he has a plans in the future to build, because the codes allow us to build 4 or more units. So he wants to planning to build more units in that side, and use and when we start with that project, we want to use that part for the parking spot for all the complex together. That one is the plan. We can use it right now. We not define exactly what the city required to do that kind of project. So we're not going to waste a space and something we can use it. So that's why we can use that one. But if your recommendation is to use that area, we are open to working on it, of course.
Okay. Any other question? Yeah.
Is this going to be used as a rental property or Airbnb, short-term? What's the purpose of building it?
Is that, you want to answer that one?
Well, I have a clinic and I have like some partners on my business, like they are under me, and I need to be there like very close to me for my business. So I don't plan to do like an Airbnb. For be honest, I don't like it. I just prefer just like keep my my home good looking and my business good looking as well. So the point is like I just make feel better all the neighborhood and looks better all the neighborhood as well.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant?
On the letter you sent to Planning and Zoning Commission, it indicates that you're going to be using this as a rental.
Yeah, or that is the plan for rental for his own members of the clinic. They working with too many partners and that one. So they come in and do the service in his clinic and help him for long term. So he wants to rent it to them, and that one he wants us to rent it to long term to another extra unknown person or the Airbnb or something like that. He want to avoid that one. He's going to use that more to personal and business use for that one.
Okay, thank you.
Are you saying your employees? Is that what you're wanting to have the employees live there?
I can hear you, sorry.
You're wanting the employees to live there? I'm hearing you say partners, and I'm trying to
Yeah, well,
understand.
my
Is
own
it your
business,
employee?
yes.
I know it's your business, but is it your employees that you're planning to rent?
Employees or partners, whatever that needs to use the units, is going to be open to rent it to the any employees or any partners or whatever anyone needs to use the apartments.
I will give you like a short example. My assistant right now, she's living in Denton. That's mean like she's driving like 1 hour and 50 minutes every day for just back to my business from Irving. Another hour and maybe plus is like 6 p.m. for back to her home to Denton. So, and she need to come with me every day, so it's too much. So that's,
You're going to rent.
exactly. So that's why I need to try to be my staff close to me.
No more questions for the applicant? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak in favor of this item? Is there anybody who'd like to speak in opposition to this item? All right. If there being no further comments, I'll return it to the commission for discussion.
I have an issue with this because we always look at things 10 years down the road. You don't know what this property is going to turn into, and we're basically creating a multifamily environment. We've turned down applicants that's wanted to do basically the same thing in areas due to parking density. And it's basically, the way I see it, is just another way to put in another ADU on this property. The property is pre-existing. It has an additional dwelling unit on it now, but that's pre-existing from the 50s, from the late 50s or early 60s, like staff said. This is something that just does not fit our criteria, what the city's moving forward with at this point. I can't support it.
And I'll just add to that I think the existing requirements for the area make sense, and so I wouldn't support a variance to those requirements, and for similar reasons.
So I think I see it a little bit differently, or rather I'd break it up into two chunks. It seems to me that the additional unit is largely in keeping with what the ordinance already permits for this neighborhood, for the Heritage Crossing District, in that he could have, as it was mentioned before, up to 4 units on this property and still not need any variance, not need any change in the zoning. The only change here is because 2 of them would be separate from the third, and that's really the change on that portion of it. That seems to me a good use of the buildings that are already there without requiring that they be torn down, or that one of them be torn down in order to expand, to have 3 or 4 units all as one structure. That seems to me a reasonable solution for this piece of property. The parking and the driveway variances, on the other hand, it does not seem to me that those are a good idea at this point. The parking, it seems like 6 spots really should be required. If there is going to be an agreement with the neighboring property, that needs to be recorded before any sort of approval could go forward. And on the driveway, there just didn't seem to be enough space in light of sort of the configuration. The applicant mentioned maybe eventually building parking over on that other side, the east side of the property. That could be a good option now in order to avoid this issue. So that I'd be in favor of the first part, but not the variances.
Now, to add to your comments, I mean, if you look at it, you said that they could go 4 units on it. If you tore down what's existing there now and you built a 4-unit complex, the parking would be totally different. You would be able to have adequate parking. It would fit newer criteria of the neighborhood, et cetera. Right now, the way this is being done, if you look at the existing home, it's makeshifting. And I just don't think that's something we should be having done in the Heritage District.
I'm leaning towards what Chairman Skinner has said in terms of looking at this from a Heritage Crossing District standpoint. I agree that it's a good use and a good change for the residential piece. I wonder if you would consider a postponement and work on maybe the design of moving the parking to the east side so that you can accommodate the appropriate amount of parking for the number of bedroom units that you have. Ordinarily, I'm not a big fan of postponing things, but if we don't postpone it, then I would deny it. And I don't think that's what you want. So hopefully I've made that clear.
I would agree with Commissioner Hack about postponing it and maybe taking a look at it from them addressing our issues and our concerns and coming back before the board.
I probably have to agree with Commissioner Hacker as well. I feel exactly the same way.
I agree.
Would you be open to a postponement? Yes. Okay.
Well, if we have no other,
Yeah.
if we have no other comments, I'd like to make a motion to postpone.
Hang on, I do want to make a comment. I would encourage you to, during the postponement period, to look at moving the parking to the east side of the property where you have plenty of space. Because otherwise, you have to go to the owner of the med spa building and get a permanent record, on record that you will always have access to that parking. And if they look down the road, they may not want to have that as a permanently recorded permission. So I would tell you to consider moving to the east side, and then I think you've got a decent case for approval.
And so to a definite date is what you want? Yeah, November 4th.
We're good. If commissioners have no other comments, I'd like to make a motion for postponement of zoning case 2024-239CC until the November 4th meeting.
A second.
We have a motion and a second for postponement. Please vote. And the motion passes 7-1. All right. Thank you. See you next month. All right. Moving on to item number 10. Zoning case 2024-251-ZC, located at 5250 North O'Connor Boulevard, Suite 144. Is the applicant present? Right. Would you like to come up and speak?
Just have questions.
Okay. All right. Do any of the commissioners have questions for the applicant before we ask her to come up?
No, I just like your restaurant. It's great, great location, lovely menu, beautiful build out. Encourage everybody to go.
All right. Okay, then I'll open up the rest of the public hearing. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? Then I will return it to the commission for any discussion and a motion.
If there are no further comments, I'd like to, for zoning case dash 2024 251ZC, I'd like to propose a approval.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second recommending approval. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. Okay. All right, item number 11, Development Plan 2024-300-DVP, located at 5330 North MacArthur Boulevard. And this one is for final action by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Is the applicant present? All right. Would you like to speak? Sure. Please state your name and address.
Robert Adams, and address is 6216 Ravendale Lane in Dallas.
Okay.
So we attended the workshop, whatever you call it. So to provide some color detail here, so just to the north, in the wake of COVID, most banks have been consolidating branches, to save on overhead. Bank of America is no exception. About a block to the north, they've closed that branch. And so they've approached us for an off-site ATM to serve their clientele in the area. Tremendous daytime population, as you know, with in this area. I think they proposed the site where it's the proposed location. For what's obvious to me, at least, is, MacArthur's a pretty highly trafficked artery. And then that drive off MacArthur is the primary approach to the property. So they want to try to take advantage of that. But that's kind of some detail there that maybe wasn't provided earlier.
All right. Any questions from the commission?
Yeah, I had a few questions. Sure. So is this part of any kind of change in management or ownership or improving this property generally?
No, just it would be an improvement upon the property, but we've owned the property since 1996 and have no intention of changing that.
Okay. Yeah, part of the reason I ask is, I do have concerns about safety, crime, like the signage is cracked, it doesn't look great. And so then putting in a standalone ATM into a parking lot, into a shopping center that's, in my view, not very well maintained, looked like a red flag to me.
Which signage?
The signage at the shopping center?
Of any particular, like?
I didn't bring pictures. I went and visited and saw.
Yeah, we are trying to have our tenant, this lies within Las Colinas, so we're subject to the Las Colinas Association and the Architectural Control Committee there. So our tenants are the ones that are due to maintain their signs, and so we get noticed. Was it Dickies again, I think? So yeah, we're in the process of trying to have them fix that. But if there's any issues that you'd like us to address as far as landscaping or anything, we would certainly do that. We made a lot of improvements over the years with painting, redoing kind of all the hand railings, enhancing, I would say, the landscaping that was there and everything. And so we've tried to get a better handle on that, I'll admit.
So the question I got for you is, are y'all willing to move it to the suggested location, move it from where it's at, or are y'all dead set on keeping it where y'all want it at? Or can you make that decision?
I can't make that decision, but I'm happy to run it by him, being Bank of America.
You realize this is a decision we're making tonight, and it'll be a final decision.
Yes.
So do we postpone?
Well, we can make a motion where they get the option of choosing between the two. That's one of our options.
But a lot of our issues is that we're looking up at the suggested location, like the city suggested, versus the downward suggestion.
Or not at all.
Yeah, or not at all. Yeah, so by looking at that, we're going to make our decision based upon that. And he's not able to make that decision. So.
I'll probably just want to say that I'm okay with both locations, and I think that's a decision they have to make depending on their strategic studies that they make, how profitable they can be, or what they think is best for their business. I don't think we should be the ones defining that. I think as long as we're able to say, hey, yes, you can put it here, I think they should have the freedom to choose that.
So basically, we give them the option to do either.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
One question I had, when they came to you all and said that particular location, was there any concern with the traffic that comes there? Because they come right in there off of MacArthur, some turn into Walgreens and some will power through and go straight forward into that parking lot, so.
Oh, what's the question exactly? Because the turnoff to Walgreens is before you would reach the ATM, and then there's a couple
Yeah.
curb cuts, one curb cut right at Walgreens, and there's two at Jack in the Box. Honestly, I don't foresee a huge influx of traffic because of the ATM. It'll be probably more during the lunchtime hours. That's when we have peak traffic at this center, and it's primarily for lunch. But parking is really never an issue because we have so much. But if you give them two options and you say, hey, well, we shoot this one down and we'd approve it here, I just go back to them and.
Okay. Well, that was my question. It sounds like you all aren't concerned about the traffic, and it hasn't been a big issue.
Personally, I'm not, and
Any other questions for the applicant?
I just want to make sure you don't represent the company that's installing the ATM and, how that kiosk is built with security and lighting and protection of the
I
customers
don't.
using that?
This would be what's called a ground lease, and we essentially are leasing the parking spaces, and then they'll come install it. It'll be separately metered. We've got to maintain the lighting for the shopping center. That's part of the lease. I will say, too, I think the rendering showed two ATMs. It's been represented to us that it'll just be one, and so it'll be a smaller structure with 4 bollards on each side running north and south. I believe you liked the structure around it, not just being a standalone that can be, torn away.
Yeah.
So the bollards will help there, and then it abuts our landscaping island as well, which,
Yeah.
maybe not a huge deterrent, but
No, I just would, from a cardholder standpoint, since this is not a traditional drive-up ATM, people have to go inside, so they have to park and go inside. That's what I'm understanding
I
from
don't
your
think they'll be
photo.
going inside. It'll just be a larger cabinet, about a 9.5 feet tall cabinet that'll
Got it.
house an ATM inside it.
Okay.
I've seen a couple like that, but this will not be that similar.
Yeah.
So it'll look like that, but with just one ATM. And if you go back to the site plan, I can kind of, so right there where it's the partial site plan A, if you can maybe zoom in.
I think there's a mouse.
I don't see.
In a drawer?
Oh, in the drawer. Okay. So here, if you can see it's gone, it shows a smaller structure. The dimensions on the double are about 15 feet wide. I'm sorry, 11 feet wide, correct? By 5 feet deep. So I think it'll be about 5 foot by 6 foot, 5 foot deep, 5 feet deep by 6 feet wide. And then about 9.5 feet tall. Whereas the drive-ups are about 11.5 feet to accommodate larger vehicles and some of these trucks. down
Yeah,
here.
I don't have a problem with this in either location. You all are better positioned to know what the traffic is like. I would think our suggested location of further north, which is away from the retail, is easier, but I also recognize there's only one way in from Bond Street, so that, you're better positioned to make that decision than I am. I would just want to be really clear that you want to have really good lighting, and since you are responsible for the lighting, that's really important around an ATM.
Yes, ma'am. And they'll have some on it as well, but the pole lights will be up to us. And we do LEDs now. We go back, so it's pretty bright.
bright.
And somebody brought up the Wells Fargo ATM. I believe it was you, Commissioner Myrick. We own that property too, and have never had an issue with that ATM, Wells Fargo ATM there. And we did enhance the lighting a couple years ago for that, at their request. So we don't want any issues. Being a landlord's not that easy in this day and age. You can have a target on your back sometimes, so we recognize that. So.
I do think it's a good location. I'm kind of sorry the BOA
Thanks.
closed on Walnut Hill because it was a good, easy in and out for
So I
customers.
think on O'Connor Ridge too, they've got that one. It's
On
probably.
Ken West, up
Yes,
further
ma'am.
north
And
as
then
well.
up north at Royal and 635. And this one just probably didn't have the traffic that those two can.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? Great, thank you.
We appreciate the consideration, and shouldn't say this, but we'd be happy to have them there in either location, so that's up to them to decide, I guess, if y'all give them the option, so,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak in favor of this item? Is there anybody who'd like to speak in opposition to this item? No? Then I'll return it to the commission for any further discussion and for a motion.
No further discussion. I'd make a motion to approve, final action by our Planning and Zoning Commission for Development Plan 2024-300-DVP for approval with the idea that you choose between the proposed location that you have identified as well as our suggested location further north. Either location would be fine.
A second.
A motion and a second. Please vote. And the motion passes 7-1. All right. Let's go on to item number 12, zoning case 2024-309-ZC, located at 2816 River Lake Court. Is the applicant present? All right, sir. Please state your name and address.
My name is Miguel Martinez, 2816 River Lake Court.
Okay, great.
Got some notes. So, first of all, thank you for the opportunity.
Bring the microphone over.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for the opportunity for me to speak today. I'm here to respectfully request your approval for the construction of a carport on my property. This addition is not just a convenience, but a necessity, given the weather conditions we regularly face in this area, right? So let me just tell you first, now the recent hailstorms that we've had, they've done a lot of damage to my trucks. I don't want to sound cocky or nothing, but I have 3 Raptors, and I don't know if you guys know what a Raptor is. They cost more than what my house costs now, $100,000 each truck, and I spent about $24,000 in hail damage the last 3 years on those trucks, and I'm spending another $8,000 on paint, reconditioning because of the heat. Not only that, but I have a special needs daughter, and every time it rains, it's really hard for us to wait till the rain slows down for us to go into the garage, right? I know, yeah, there's umbrellas and everything, but it's hard. We use our garage a lot because of how our house is designed. Our front door is towards the edge. Secondly, the extreme heat, right? It's unbearable when you all of us live in Texas, and when you go into your cars, it's just really bad. And we believe that the carport will provide lots of shade and will cool our cars. Especially when in the summers. And additionally, the carport will also provide aesthetic value and curb appeal, right? It's not gonna be like a regular carport. It's gonna be a cedar pine carport. I'm gonna invest about $30,000 on that thing. And over the 5 years, I've invested in my house about $75,000. With not including the pool that we just built about 2 years ago. So why am I investing all this money? It's just for my family. We're a family of three, and we've owned that house for about 24 years. We love our community. We love our neighborhood, and I'm an old school guy, right? I love my house, and that's where I spend a lot of my time, most of my time with my family. And I did hear some of your concerns, right, that it had to be like 10 feet from the curb. It is 9 feet right now and 15 feet on the other side because of how the curb is. I am willing to work that extra foot, like to push it towards, to be compliant. But like you said, I mean, the trucks, they're big trucks and they measure about 20 feet. So I have to have that extra space. And I guarantee you, I mean, it's not going to be a problem. I mean, 1 foot is not going to be that problem, right? But I'll be willing to, make it compliant. I got a permit to build a porch, and that's another $15,000. I just got approval from you guys. So, yeah, I mean, my house, I want it to be the best in my court. So, it helps bring the property value up. So I hope you consider and approve the carport. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have questions of the applicant? Commissioner Merrick, do you have a question? Commissioner Lightfoot.
All right, so you're willing to move it to that 10 feet?
Yes, sir.
You do understand the reason why 10 feet is so important for us as far as infrastructure, changes of driveway, if there's road widening, sidewalks, et cetera. It gives them a little bit of room to make things ADA compliant as we update streets and update infrastructure.
Right. I do understand that. Like I said, I've been there for 24 years, and it's a circle. It's not a street. Mm-hmm. It's a court. It's one of those and I don't see any of that happening, but I understand, what you're saying, sir.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anybody else who would like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? No? Then I'll return it to the commission for discussion and a motion.
If there's no other further discussion, I'd move zoning case 2024-309-ZC for approval to city council with a 10-foot setback, not a 9-foot.
I second.
We have a motion and a second for recommending approval with just a modification of a 10-foot setback. Please vote. All right, and the motion passes 7-1. All right, so that still does go to city council, so you still need to go to city council and talk to them, but it goes with a recommendation of approval. All right, item number 13, Development Plan 2024-333-DVP, located at 400 Evadine Drive. And this is for final action by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Is the applicant present? Sir, would you like to speak?
Okay, I'm Mark Alexander, and I live at 2320 Hunters Ridge here in Irving. And I'm the developer and the builder for Avadine, which is a new subdivision in Irving with single-family homes. It does have private streets in it, and we're requesting a variance setback from the garage door from 25 feet to 22 feet. And all of our lots are designed with a 20-foot setback in the front. And this lot is on a corner lot, and it is going to have a circle drive. And we're going to do that with all the corner lots. We're going to have circle drives on those. We will have sidewalks on both sides of the street. And here, although a suburban would fit, but this family has much smaller cars. They're a retired couple moving here from Minnesota, and we're building their new house. So we understand that 22-foot has been approved before in Irving, so we're limiting our variance request to the 22-foot setback for this driveway in front of this three-car garage. And we feel like that with the three-car garage and a three-car driveway and the Struckle Drive, that there would not be any issues with parking for this house.
Is there any reason that you can't comply with the 25-foot setback for the garage?
Well, the house is already designed, the foundation plan is already designed, and we were under the impression that our whole neighborhood had the 20-foot. And then when we went to get the permit, and it said, well, no, the garage is 25-foot. And we missed that when we were designing, because this neighborhood is brand new. It was from, raw dirt before we designed the neighborhood. So then the house is designed, and we can't do that house if we don't get this.
So that it would have to require some level of redesign.
We'd have to redesign the foundation plan and the house and the rooms and everything about it.
Do the commissioners have any other questions?
Yeah, I do, because I guess I'm thinking about not just this house, but it sounds like there's been some changes in what the original design was for the entire property. So are all of the houses that are being built going to face
No,
this issue?
it's just limited to this one. We've got another new house right behind it, but the way it was designed, it cleared the 25-foot, so that wasn't an issue. It's just this one house. We've got 73 lots in the neighborhood.
Right.
And this is the only one.
Okay, so all the rest of them are going to comply with the 25 except
Yes, ma'am.
this one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We're not asking for the whole neighborhood, just this one lot.
Not all the corner lots or anything
Right.
like that.
Yes, sir. Right.
So then you're not going to come back as you build each individual
No,
house and ask
no,
for-
because we already got a good start on designing all these other houses, and now we're looking at that on the front end.
'Cause I remember
as
your
we're
face.
designing, so.
So basically, this is a lot that y'all guys basically assumed that it was going to be a 20-foot setback, and y'all went ahead and designed everything based upon that without checking first?
Well, the one behind it was on a corner, and it just happened the way that lot was, it happened to be more than 25 foot, so that didn't come up during the permitting process.
Mm-hmm. So y'all went ahead and designed all the engineering foundation, did everything to build this particular house on this lot?
Based on what we thought was, the 20-foot setback. Because we had, when we were doing the zoning changes, from the
So
land.
going back to Commissioner Skinner's comment, if we don't approve this, y'all can go back and revise.
Well, we wouldn't have an option, but that would be not a good situation, especially since this family, we've already spent, 3 months designing the house and then working on the plans.
Is this 25-foot setback an unusual restriction here in Irving for you?
Well, yeah, because we're used to 20-foot. Well, that's what we had set up when we set up this plan, is 20-foot. And that's what we were designing on. This particular lot, the way it narrows up in the back is where it didn't hit it, whereas the other lots are going to work with it, with the 25-foot. It's just this one lot where it was tight.
There was a question that came up during the work session about sidewalks. Can you explain what the sidewalks, if any, will be in this neighborhood?
Yeah, the entire neighborhood has sidewalks on both sides of the street, 5-foot wide sidewalks on both sides of the street.
From what I'm seeing on the plans, it looks like if you pulled a full-size vehicle in there, SUV, truck, it's going to be sticking in the sidewalk area. There's no question about it. So we're approving something that necessarily could later create a hardship, or even put it in violation of city ordinance where you're not supposed to have your vehicle sticking over the sidewalk. I mean, they're, yeah. So if you're private, you don't have to follow no city requirements?
You do, but you're not affecting the public street. I'm not sure, Mr. Alexander, you may want to explain, the 10-foot sidewalk and utility easement, typically sidewalks are in the right-of-way. What is your plan for the location of the sidewalks? Where are they going to be constructed?
Well, the sidewalks, when we developed this whole plan, we're calling it like a meandering walking trail. So the sidewalks will go, we have a 20-foot easement to where we can put the sidewalks where we want them to create this curving, more drive-up appeal for the sidewalks. This would be pretty close to the street. It would not be up closer to the house. So that's why with the 22-foot and I think a Suburban's 18 feet, that's there's enough room in there, even if someone had a Suburban, even though we know that they don't have a Suburban. But so the sidewalks would all be built as we go through here out closer to the street and not closer to the house.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? Then I'll return it to the commission for discussion and a motion.
I want to ask staff one question. Going back to the comment earlier, so when you're in a private community, this is just from my knowledge, when you're in a private community, you don't follow code enforcement or city ordinances?
They do. So a private street does follow public street standards.
Okay.
They have this additional 10-foot easement in order to accommodate that meandering sidewalk.
I understand.
So
I've seen
they
that,
can
yeah.
go in and out of the public property, or not public, but the right-of-way and on the private property. Because normally a sidewalk is inside the right-of-way and not on private property.
Yeah.
So where it hits the driveway, I expect the sidewalk should be within the right-of-way or within the, outside of the private property line, which would give the full 22 feet of driveway space.
22 feet. Apparently, nobody's ever hit their knee on a trailer hitch before walking behind a car.
Yeah.
But, Yeah.
Versus it meandering at the point of the sidewalk. So it would still be.
and we still got to comply with ADA, 8%, 10% slopes,
Yeah,
et
all those
cetera.
still apply.
And if somebody has a Suburban that's sticking out, then
And if we don't have any more comments, I was ready to make a motion.
I do. Because I was always curious about the lengths of trucks. So I have a friend who actually owns a number of Ford dealerships. So I called and I said, what do you do with truck length? And a full-size truck with an 8-foot bed, just so everybody can think about this. If you add the cattle guard, you add the drawbar, the tow hitch, which is 1.3 inches, 1.25 feet on 1.25 feet on either end, you're now at 22 feet. Yeah, and a Suburban is 18.5 feet in length. So it's really the full-size trucks with cattle guard and hitch on the back that makes it more than 22 feet, in case you really cared.
And I understand what you're saying. But that's also pulling up directly to the garage. So if you pull back where most people stop, 2 feet back from a garage, et cetera, you are right there. Not most people's going to pull directly up to the garage, because that's what happens with the smaller homes that we have now with the littler garages. You always go in and you see the front of the car sticking in the sheetrock, where everybody's bumped it at one point to try to squeeze their cars in. So you're correct as far as distance. But you got to factor in there's going to be some forgiveness between the vehicle. Otherwise, you can't even walk around the vehicle. So you're going to have to pull back 2 to 3 feet from the garage itself, which is going to bring you further out towards the sidewalks.
Yeah, but I just think that you're not going to have that kind of traffic in this area and in that neighborhood.
Also, can they just park inside the garage?
It's a 3-car garage.
So what's the length of the garage? The depth, yeah.
It's a little more than 20 feet.
21?
I think it's 21.
I'm sorry, if you could come to the,
They have to be a minimum 20 by 20
I
for a
think
two-car
the
garage
minimum-
as measured on the inside stud.
So it will be,
Yeah, the minimum is 20, but I think this is like 20 and a half to 20. There's a double car and a single car, and they're offset. So the double car is deeper, and the single car, I think, is like at 20 and a half, and the double car is at maybe 21, I think.
I was expecting to be a little bit bigger, and but yeah, I mean they can still park there. I mean, I don't know if they can. I don't know if it's going to be heavy traffic, foot traffic there either. So I don't.
And I'm okay with what y'all guys are suggesting. I'm just bringing up points to it that we need to think about. And I agree with April. I just don't want to see this also, if we approve this one lot, I don't want to see it being a trigger effect throughout the whole area. Yeah, the whole community there. So I think that if we give a variance on this variance is there, it's there, but let's not come back to us and say, hey, we designed all the plans, we designed this, because all that stuff can be changed. Realistically, this is a move that is a financial move for them to keep spending money to get it redone, and then they can utilize the same plans. Otherwise, it's about probably a $10,000 expense to go through everything again. And I'm okay with it. I just don't think it should trigger, but I just wanted to make the logical point that we're consistently telling residents in our areas that they're getting in trouble with code enforcement for hanging out in their driveways, their cars hanging out on the sidewalks and everything else. And we're sitting here making exceptions saying it's okay. So I just want to make sure that's a valid point that everybody understands. We're saying it's okay. So when residents start getting in trouble, it's not on us. I mean, we're saying it's okay to go ahead and leave your car sticking out. That we're gonna approve a new build when we don't even allow the people that have existing homes to do the exact same thing.
But I don't think that
So-
they drive.
Yeah, I think the extra long Ford truck with the cattle guard and the trailer hitch is an exception. And I am saying, because since I'm building the houses and selling the lots, that this is not going to be a recurring thing. This is a one-time deal on this particular lot. And on a side note, since it is a 3-car wide driveway, and our sidewalk is pulled all the way to the approach. I mean, there's just that much more room, as if people walking around, that if you did have the Ford truck parked there, that it's easy to walk around it because you have such a wide approach. They're connected to the sidewalk. But I will tell you that this is the only time you're going to see me here.
Well, like I said, we have to look at things 10 years down the road, et cetera. We don't know who's going to be here, who's going to change. These people might have a little Toyota Corolla that's, Debbie, how long would you say a Toyota Corolla? So, I mean, realistically, 12, 13, 14 feet. So, and that would comply very easily. But if somebody ever did move into it with a larger vehicle, that would be an issue and a problem.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion for final action by Planning and Zoning Commission for 2024-333-DVP to approve the garage door setback from 25 to 22 feet, knowing we're not going to see you again, and you're on record.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. All right, on to our last item. Item number 14, zoning case 2024-334-ZC, located at 903 Elwood Road. Is the applicant present?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Planning and Zoning Commission. My name is Israel Garcia, 1159 South Cocker Hill Road, Cocker Hill, Texas. I am the owner of the property in question. I had the opportunity of listening in on the work session, and I wanted to address some concerns you all had. First, the lot compatibility of the neighborhood. As you saw on the map, there are several lots that align with what we propose, and some that are actually even smaller. I'm not asking for anything that has not been done in the past. Second, off-site parking. I know that was a concern as well. Our driveways, as mentioned, they are 27 feet in depth. There's also going to be a 2-car garage where you can park some cars as well. That's all I have. Any questions?
Any questions for the applicant?
I guess I did buy this property. I did just buy this property in May in the hopes to divide it. Since then, I've cleaned up the property, maintained the grass every 2 weeks, actually, just to be compliant as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was going to be my question because one of the people had made some concerns.
I'm sure,
About
yeah.
the property
I talked to
not being retained.
I talked to the code enforcer, and we came to an agreement when I first bought it. She gave me a little time because it was raining, couldn't get stuff out, but I cleaned it up. And I did it myself, so y'all know.
Any other questions for the applicant? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody who'd like to speak in opposition to this item? All right, there not being anyone else, I'll return it to the commission for any discussion and a motion.
I'd like to bring up what staff brought up in the meeting, is that when they compared the lot sizes, it would have probably been not required to have a 51.5 feet, basically, lot width. It was due to the one lot next door that created a lot of that. So I think it fits the area, dividing it up. Most of the houses down there fit it. The houses across the street as far as lot width. So I could support this. And I think it's an improvement for the neighborhood.
I feel the opposite. I mean, the rule clearly says it's not incompatible with the area. And this area is unique for some of these larger lot sizes. And once it gets divided, it's not going back. So I don't support it.
Anyone else?
I guess to the applicant, just one question, sorry. I guess you're planning to build, and you may have mentioned this before, you're planning to build 2 houses?
Yes, sir. 2 single family.
2 single-family?
Yes, sir.
Homes. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Any other comments, discussion? No? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, if there's no other comments from the commissioners, for zoning case 2024-334-ZC be moved to city council for approval.
Okay, we have a motion.
I second.
We have a second. Recommending approval, please vote. And the motion passes 7-1. All right, and that was the last item on our agenda. So the meeting is adjourned at 8:09 p.m.